Sophie Lee with us, and I could not be more happier and humbled and amazeballs, because amazed ovaries, actually what I normally say. I couldn't think of a better person to go through with us how to actually be unignorable. And if you're building a portfolio career, no, damn, if even if you're in a company, you need to be building your platform. So I've been following Sophie. Actually, it's another LinkedIn connect of how I know people. And you caught my attention. So Sophie, do you want to give a little bit about who you are? Background story.
So my name is Sophie Lee. I am the founder and director of Electric Peach, which is a brand storytelling and communications agency. And I also work with female founders to help them take up more space using their voice. So that could be on stages, it could be coming onto podcasts like this, going onto webinars, and basically creating a ripple effect around them. So it's perfect for this conversation around what they want to be known for and using their voice as an instrument for change. And you can kind of see it like a homunculus on my shoulder here. On the 8th of March, I'll also be a published author for the first time. And my book, Beyond Palatable, A Manifesto for Unapologetic Women, is going to hit bookshelves on International Women's Day, which I'm very excited about.
Nice.
And I am going to put, it's a bit far away from me, but I'm going to put a link for the book, but also you're doing a series of, they're not their lives, but you're actually doing a tour. If I was in the UK, many people know I'm in Switzerland, even though I have the British accent. I'm going to put the link for that, because you're actually going on tour in March as well.
Yes.
Giving platform to other people, by the way. I love what you're doing, giving platform to other people in terms of their voice as well.
Yeah, so we've got the Reclamation Tour, which makes me feel really Taylor Swift. I'm not even a Swiftie, but it makes me feel Swiftie-esque. And we're actually starting in London with a massive launch party, going up to Scotland, working our way down the country.
500 miles.
And yeah, no, I'm not that hardcore. Training down the country, and we're going to 9 different cities in total. And I have invited incredible women to join me in all of those cities, because for me, this isn't about me. This is I am the vehicle to which this book came to be, but this is a story. The book explores a story that we'll probably hopefully talk about a bit today, and that is universal really for women all around the world.
I can't wait to get my hands on it.
You should try and visit in London, Eileen. You're there.
Yes,
I know. I need those details, Sophie. I need those details.
It's actually sold out, but I can sneak you in. I've oversold this event massively.
I need to make a post on LinkedIn with the inside, the behind the scenes and stuff pictures.
There you are. We'll do behind the scenes of it, and then that will be the excuse as to how I can get in. There we are.
Sounds good.
So, I mean, maybe let's start with your story, but let me tell you that one of the most big feedbacks that I get, and maybe Eileen and Iona, you can pick up, but a lot of women are actually, they go, I don't know where to start. I don't feel like I can post on LinkedIn. It's like they don't have their voice, and there is an inner issue that they have. Would I be right in that? You get a lot of that as well, right? Or
I mean, I work a lot with thought leadership strategies, and one of the biggest anchor topics that we have is to say, am I even a thought leader? Mm-hmm. And in which areas am I a thought leader? And that's such an easy way to find out how you can post on LinkedIn, by saying, what is the content that you don't see? And you don't see a lot of colorful content. You don't see a lot of really, beyond the eye, kind of very polished ones. And that's your space. It's not there because it's waiting for you. But I'm curious to know how you feel this. So I have a lot to say. And they are midlife experts. Okay, so they're 40 plus. These are not someone, after 20 just starting a practicum. They've done so much things. They worked in companies. They've moved countries 3-4 times. They have kids. They they've went through, you know, health challenges, so they are extremely qualified, and still the feeling of not being a thought leader or to not having a voice is very, it's at the beginning of the journey, and there's a voice saying, but what if I am, or what could I, how could I become? And I don't have to create anything, I just have to reshift the light or the focus. I don't
But
have to build anything, they have
is
it.
it that, or also I think a lens that I hear quite a lot is not necessarily they don't feel comfortable in saying what they need to or taking up space, but it's, well, I've kind of said that already, and it's this it's this, well, I posted that last month or 6 months ago, I can't do that again. It's that nature of the assumption that everyone is seeing the content all the time. So I think it's almost like a
It's both, I
parallel
think.
challenge, isn't it? Yeah.
I think it's both, and I'm not sure it is parallel actually, because
Okay.
it's more, in my experience, it's more the trajectory. So at the beginning, when I've worked, well, actually the inspiration for my book came from the fact that I worked with senior women, the most incredible women around in a massive corporation over Europe, their senior leadership team. And I was helping them to learn how to speak, do public speaking more effectively. They were nailing it. And every single time they would apologize for their voice. They would be really uncomfortable taking up space. Hardly any of them used LinkedIn. They found it really cringe. They didn't think anyone was listening or anyone would want to hear what they had to say. And that was an issue that I saw over and over again from women very early on in their career to really senior women. So there's that challenge, that whole, well, who do I think I am? Like, and also because of how women police one another, when women start to shine, other women will say, who do you think you are? And that fear of being seen as being too big for your boots keeps a lot of women small. That's
I love you. You're so honest.
That's how she
It's
built it up on
true.
LinkedIn. I mean, that's how you do it. No, you say the uncomfortable thing and you name the problems, and not stay surface level, you know, to say, oh, we all need to take care of our mental health. Okay. You know, like, oh, we need to walk more. No, this is a problem. And what you say for sure is true. And to what Eileen said, there's been on LinkedIn, I don't know, Sophie, if you've seen it, if you change your profile from woman to man, you get a different feed, you get different engagement. And it can be very discouraging to have an extremely well thought out post that gets less engagement. I try to disincentivize around numbers, likes, reposts, and focus on these kind of connections that can boost your visibility, reach, and so on more, which is actually our core expertise. We know how to do connection and sustainable long-term connections. And to focus more on those than on the numbers, and then from there build numbers. I mean, Chantal has numbers, like her visibility numbers are
Sophie, way more.
through
But
the
comparison
roof.
to the FIFA joy.
We can learn. We are in the presence of experts.
And Eileen more.
Yes.
What was so you were working with female founders and you were noticing this pattern, but I sense someone who isn't scared of taking up space. Well, there's a lot of us here, but what is it? What would you crystallize in? What was your story in being brave enough just to take up the space that is yours?
The reason that I started working with female founders in the first place is because when I started my agency nearly 9 years ago, I was very confident in thought leadership, in the sense of hiding behind my ideas, my brand, another brand. So I had no problem with putting stuff out there in the media. I used to be a journalist, so I was very competent at getting featured in the media. And I had no problem with that. And I had no problem with standing on stages in groups of people. But when it came to visibility for myself, as in putting myself out there, I was absolutely terrified. And I would go through, I call it the turtle. So I'd go through a period where I'd be out of my shell, like, hi, I can do this. And then it would all suddenly feel too terrifying. And I'd go back into my shell again over and over again. And I was becoming more and more aware of how much that was impacting my growth and the consistency to which that momentum was able to build. And I never used to post on LinkedIn. I think I started posting on LinkedIn about 2 years ago, even though I've been on the platform for about probably like 15 years. And I was really scared of it. And I had some really good advice, which was find your weirdos. And so I went and found.
Did you find weirdos?
Yeah, that's how I found you.
We are the norm here. This is the norm here.
I think that's such good advice, because what was happening for me was that I had this idea that being serious businesswomen needed to look a certain way, and I was at that time trying to put myself in this box that didn't fit me at all and making myself really miserable. And then rather than trying to change that, because it was such an ingrained thing, I instead went and found people who were doing what I wanted to be doing, and was in the aura of those people, in their comment sections, learning from them, watching them, and trying really hard not to compare myself. And there was no comparison, because I was literally not posting at all. I was just a lurker, like, hi, will you be my friend?
The silent yeah.
And
so you've actually normalized what a lot of people are feeling. They're feeling scared. Do they come out of what is expected? Because, you know, there's the whole professionalism piece that I don't like to see. But actually, your strategy was, in essence, find other people like you. You can call them weird, but it's like find your weirdos.
Your cheer squad. I call it the cheer squad. You have a cheer squad, or like a group of 2-3 people that you connect.
Or tribe.
Or tribe.
Yeah. I like being a weirdo.
She likes weirdos.
I like weirdos too. But even if you're not posting initially, what that was, it gave you some like, it started to move and shift you from where you were to where you are now. So wherever you are, if you're absolutely scared, find some weirdos. Is the kind of crystal piece.
And for context, just to put numbers that actually mean something behind that. So I went from never posting at all and being terrified of it to now, so on a kind of more cosmetic level, I have 22,000 followers, but have a really high engagement rates for LinkedIn every time I post. But more than that, LinkedIn has made me well over 100 grand in the last year. And it got me to be an Adobe ambassador, and it got me a publishing deal, and it found me some of my best friends. And so there's so many things that come as a result of it. Like today, I put a post up about the fact that my book tour in Glasgow had been cancelled. My first thought when it was cancelled was, I cannot be asked. And then my second thought was, I have this amazing community who I know will want to help. So I put it out. In the past, I would never have done that, because I wouldn't want to admit to the world that this thing had happened.
Gone wrong.
I think it's really embarrassing. Like, and then I'd be like, no one will care, la, la, la. And what has happened as a result of getting past my own blockers is that I have now become somebody who's not afraid to put themselves out there. And the energy of being somebody who asks for things, and someone who also looks for people to help when they ask for things, because I also am now other people's weirdo. So when people are in my comments and I know that they're not confident posting, I do my best to lift them up in the same way that people did before for me. That energy, especially at the moment when the world can sometimes feel so bleak, is really wonderful. And there is a lot of negative things that we hear about social media, and obviously that's not the only place to be unignorable and visible, but it can be this really beautiful community if you choose to use it in that way, and if you choose to be as much of a contribution as it is that you're looking for something back as well.
So how do you go? Oh, sorry, go on, Eileen.
No, I was going to say, community aside, because I love the idea of constantly banging that drum, creating your tribe, your group of weirdos, whatever you want to call that wonderful bunch of people that just lift you up, your cheer squad, right? But how do you go? You're an author, you're a consultant, you're a brand strategist, you wonderfully open space for women. How do you articulate so much greatness when there's so many threads to this ball of yarn almost, right? And I think that's a lot of what I get told, especially in the world that where the lens we're coming from, and most of our audience members are either in that career and considering a portfolio, or considering fractional, or growing that landscape of multiple streams of income. How do you start to bring that together so you don't look like that jack of all trades and master of none type of behavior?
That is such a challenge, isn't it? And I don't think I ever really cared that much if people thought that I was a jack of all trades, but everything has been driven by my passion for communication. So all of my qualifications, all of my work is rooted in a deep love of the English language and of communication. So every part of it, every seemingly disparate part of a web, it actually isn't. It's all communication. And so when I want to just explain what I do to like my aunt at family dinner or whatever, I just say that I'm a communication specialist, and I don't really need any more of a jazzy title than that. And that's the thing for me that is most interesting, because that's something I'll never get bored of. And then when I think about my whole career, so I graduated with a degree in English and creative writing into the recession in 2009, and immediately moved to the Czech Republic to teach English and taught the Czech government English. And even that relates back to my passion for communication. And so there hasn't ever been a point where I've been off that track. And as a result of that, I'm really, 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 really good at communication. And like, that's literally because I've done it every single day, day in, day out for 17, 18 years now. And the same thing, used to be a journalist, that's communication, used to be a marketing director, communication.
But I don't want to lose my neurodiverse mind track. Yes, it's communication for LinkedIn especially, because we're on LinkedIn, and you said you found 100K last year, and also be like, how did you communicate, in terms of finding dealership with brands or position yourself to brands beyond just one-on-one coaching or one-on-one mentoring? Can you say a bit of this transition in the visibility from this one-on-one to brand deals over LinkedIn, really over this digital platform?
It's building that narrative, isn't it? It's I think that's really, we want to get under the skin of, how did you do that? How did you build that narrative that have opened the doors to Adobe,
Well, I did it the other way around. So I started working with brands. So I've worked with huge corporations in my career before I started my business, and then through my business. I never used to work one-on-one with founders, and I'm really deliberately not in the personal brand space. That for me is a fad. And I loved the fact that you said about thought leadership, because that's something that I'm like, that's what we've been talking about for like 15 years. Like, this whole personal brand thing is not something I particularly care to align myself with. No judgment on anyone else. It's just not for me.
Which is me, which I am doing this. So I mean, yes, no
that's
judgment.
Fine.
But that's not for everyone.
But that's not my specialism. My specialism is brand, and personal brand is different. And so I built my business as a brand specialist. And so businesses will hire me because I'm a brand specialist. And within that, it's communication. So we'll help their leadership team become known for the thing that they want to be known for, and all of this stuff. So when I started off working with founders, I very purposely, and again, no shade, it's just not what I do. It's not what I'm passionate about doing. Very purposefully didn't talk about personal brand. I spoke about using the tools of brand building to help founders build their business, which is essentially what a lot of founders don't know how to do that. Like, they might know how to post on social media. They might know how to get visible on social media, but they don't know how to build an ecosystem around their business that they become a spokesperson for, but also that they can step away from if they want to, and they're not completely reliant upon that. So that was the niche that I went into. And you said earlier, it's really important to see where there's the gap. But then also, I'm known for being really honest. And that was just something that I was like, I'm so sick of all the bullshit in business. I'm so sick of it. I'm sick of having to like pretend something. I'm just sick of it. So I just started telling the truth. And that was the thing that was the game changer for me, in that my content started to do really, really well. And very quickly, I think I went from maybe like 5,000 followers to 22,000 followers in about 18 months, maybe less.
Wow.
Because I just consistently showed up and said the thing, and everyone was like, oh, I wish I could say that. And I was like, you can say that. And like, so people who work with me, people who work with me are a very specific kind of person. Like, I am not for everybody, 100%. But the people who come to work with me, founders, want to build a brand, as in a business. They also want to be able to say the thing that they feel really passionately about, but are holding themselves back from saying. So that became my niche. And then the other stuff, like the Adobe and what have you, that just came from being visible and constantly going on about stuff that they aligned their own brand with. And also the benefit of being somebody who tells the truth is that you make a fantastic person to put on a panel, because they know that you're not going to be boring. They know that you're going to say something contentious usually. So that helps. That's in my favor. Like, being a difficult woman really helps me.
I don't think it's difficult, but I think it's...
No, I don't either. I'm being facetious.
I think what you were saying was two things. I think it's about understanding what your red thread is. You were like, it's always for you being communication, and you don't care how other people perceive it. You could be doing multiple things, but you know you and what your red thread is. I forgot. I lost my thought about what the second thing was. But
she was amazing on the panel.
No, what you stand for. So like, I think it's like when you understand what you stand for and you step into that true, authentic self that takes up space, you start to attract, unwittingly, Adobe and whoever, because you start to... values attract values, and it might not be for everyone, but you start to attract, because there are a lot of people that don't really stand for anything. So you're in this kind of gray, beige stuff that's going on. And you're more visible because you're like, I'm honest. Oh my God, what does this person have to say? Because it's not AI slop. But hey, even without AI slop, there are human beings that are just saying this. They're regurgitating stuff.
Yeah, because it takes a lot of courage to say the thing that you actually mean. It's terrifying. But I think you're absolutely right with that. It is that sort of... people come to me because they know that I will be honest. And again, that's not for everybody, but marketing has got such a bad reputation, and for a good reason, because there are a lot of charlatans out there. And so that was where I started. So my business started because we wanted to use the tools of marketing to do good, work with businesses who were doing good in the world. And we messed up so many times, and we were really honest about that. And the whole kind of process of making mistakes and learning out loud as we went, which got us the reputation of being honest even before I myself put myself out there. Because as I said, I used to hide behind that all the time.
Can you tell us what mistake that you did, so we don't do it? Like, what was one of the mistakes that you did so we don't do it? The ones who are now in personal brand. Give us like
every mistake. When you read my book, you'll realize that I have like I fucked up so many times. Well, I would say
all have.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that the biggest mistakes that we made were luckily never around integrity. Like, we've turned down some massive deals with businesses and brands because they didn't align with our ethos. But I think a lot of it was also about being really naive about what it actually takes to grow a business. And when we started our business, we were like, we're going to change the way the world views marketing, which is so audacious. And I'm here for audacious, but like in a way that's like, and what does that mean, and how are you going to do that? And we had quite a few rude awakenings, and we actually started working with, I won't say the brand, but they're a massive cosmetics brand, probably the one that you think of first, like that one. And and we were telling the world that we were going to change the way the world does marketing, while at the same time writing articles and planning SEO strategies around how to contour your face so that it looks thinner. And like, that's not...
It didn't sit right on your compass, right? And isn't it...
You had to readdress. So hang on, there were three things that for me, which were, you find your voice, build out in the open was the other thing. I think it's really important what you're saying is be vulnerable enough to build out in the open. People, it's okay to make mistakes. Like, someone approached me the other day, they said they were looking at doing something in a course, and I said, but what's stopping you now? You only need, you are the expert.
What's stopping you now?
Go and get feedback. And so I think that sometimes with a portfolio career, we're putting up our own blockers and barriers, but you can do it in the open with the right values. Be honest, be integral, get feedback, these things. What I think you, though, have gone from voice to building your own platforms, which I'm really interested in, because I think some people's voices can get hidden in current platforms or suppressed or whatever. And I think what your magic at, or your wizardry, probably from the journalism, is if you think about the book and the talk and all of those things, and I'm a champion of building your own platforms, that also is key. How do you go about, because you're so unignorable because you actually own your platform, right? You've got your red thread, you've got your voice, you're authentic, you are building out in the open, you're high trust because you're honest as hell and you're always doing that. But then you're like, okay, I'm going to own my platforms. You're coming to my tour. Eileen is coming through the back door. And but how does someone go about doing that? And I take it's a journey. You're 9 years in, so people, please don't get over thingy. Like, we'll meet you where you're at, but this is something for you to look and aspire to, because I think you should plant seeds of, if not now, but maybe one day you want to have these platforms. How did you go about that?
Having ADHD and like an obnoxious amount of energy, I think is probably.
We didn't want to say it before you say it. It's like we don't give gratis, diagnosis in 2 seconds, but we do. But
I'll do all the things. So there's that.
I don't know why the health system takes so long for a diagnosis. I don't know why. Like, why do they take 4 years? We take
everywhere, right? Everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what did I do? I with building my own platform, obviously we don't own social media. It's just borrowed. It's either borrowed if you're there for free, or it's rented if you're paying for your subscription. I've been kicked off of LinkedIn 3 times in the last year because of my.
You're not doing it right unless you've not been kicked off. Honestly, I've been done it too. You're not doing it right.
Eileen, we're sending stuff there that is too nice. Like,
I'm being too soft, clearly.
When you're honest, you get kicked off.
When you challenge the status quo, and ironically, a lot of my content that I've been penalized for has been around censorship. So it's they're just proving my point. And actually, they did me such a favor and I will say it, for my personal brand. It was great because then this whole community rallied behind me and were outraged on my behalf, which got me so much more reach, and then also got my newsletter subscription massively up. So it was thanks, LinkedIn. But that made me realize I need to focus on how do I build this outside of the platform, because until that point I was doing a lot of events and podcasts and what have you, but I wasn't being particularly strategic about how I was building my own platform. Now I really love doing in-person things. I love doing in-person events. I've got my self-expression sessions, which I take all over the UK, which are basically about exploring voice and taking up space and being expressed in business and not following the status quo and what that might look like for you. And that has been building my list. I'm doing next week. This is stupid of me. This is like really stupid because I'm 5 months pregnant and this is the beginning of my tour over a month. But I decided that it was a really good idea to do a 13-hour Unignorable Voices marathon, which is incredible because all of these people who are coming onto that are just the best people. But most of them I'm interviewing over 13 hours. So that's also built my off the platform like community, but also that's just a really silly thing to do. But I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing that unless you have obnoxious amounts of energy.
I mean,
it's just looking for ways to move people. Sorry.
If you have 2 kids, Sophie, you are 13 hours on your feet for the second one. Like This is
It's her first.
It's her
This
first.
is my
And so you
first.
are super prepping for having 2 kids, because if you have 2 kids, you will not lay down, and sleep.
I think I'm okay with one.
It's going to be 13 hours.
Hands up for the one child group. 1 and done is it's enough.
Oh, no. Oh,
Yeah, I think I'm
This
with
is
you,
weird.
Eileen. Like, I don't think I need. Yeah. So that's. But
I'm
it's,
getting
I guess
jealous
it
here,
depends
but
on what
okay.
works for you. One thing I would say, and I say to my clients, because they'll look at what I'm doing and they'll be like, I want to do that. And I always say it is so much harder than you think it is, even to put on, even with my platform, and all of the speakers who I've invited all have amazing platforms and a huge amount of credibility. Even with a free event, it's still not that easy to get. Like, I would think you should have thousands of people sign up for that. It's a no-brainer. No. And it's really important to just be realistic about what it actually takes to build this, because it's not like it used to be, sadly.
But I think what you're doing is you're building true community. And when you build true community, you're unignorable. I mean, you're even showing up and doing like 13 hours with them. But I think that people see that. And that does in itself make you unignorable. People feel it. They see it, right? And that mixture between in-person. I mean, for a long time, I was just online, and she's been getting me out more. But I think if you're in community, people, you need the mix of both, but with intent, right? So I think it's with intent about what you're going. So just because you've done a book and this, it doesn't mean that that's the right formula for everyone, but I think it's about people thinking about what do those platforms look like, but essentially, how do you shape community around what problem you are solving or serving, or the people that you serve, right?
And also, how do you want people to feel? Because that's the thing that will resonate most outside of these sort of more static platforms. It's when you're bringing people together and you're creating that sense of community, it's so much of it is about an emotion. And if you can really tap into what that is, really intentionally tap into what it is that you're creating and curating through that for me, that's a much more fulfilling process than thinking I need to have X amount of people and it has to do this, like really like putting the numbers on it and taking away the humanity from it.
But this is the point, though, isn't it? I think that we have, in a world that is so noisy, we've become so obsessed with metrics, and the metrics actually aren't the indicators to success. So for anyone that is watching this, I would definitely anchor in on that, in understanding having less sometimes is more if you're getting a deeper traction and you're really getting that buyback, or you're making that impression, or you're serving that emotion and waking that up in people. And I think quite often that does get missed. And it kind of almost leads me on to where people undersell themselves because they don't really recognize that early enough. I think there's a lot of individuals, especially some that I've coached and some that I've had interactions with more recently, where there's been a real gap in understanding that the job title that you had and now what you're doing. And I bang on about this every month about the impact and focus on all those deliverables. But I think that that's probably, it speaks to your ball of yarn with the many threads being communication. It speaks to, obviously, you mentioning that whole surfacing of emotion, but also it speaks to that's how you cultivate your tribe, because they will have that, either they will need that from you, or they will do something similar and be supporting you and rallying, hearing that rallying cry. And I think quite often people forget that it is all about how many likes have I got, or how many people have commented, but it's not necessarily the true measurable of what's working or what you probably need to get your business off the ground.
Exactly. I've gone viral in the last year, maybe 10 times, and I have got precisely 0 sales from them. It's it's not the making of it. In fact, the posts that have done the worst in terms of the reach and engagement are the ones that have got me the most clients.
And this is what I say for my clients too, because it's actually the salesy posts. So some of the posts that get a lot of engagement, the viral ones, are the ones that are very popular. They do not convert so much. They're more for a different function there. They have this function. Oh, have you seen the weather? Weather was shit today. Okay, but we have a client but we connect with weather was shit. But the sales posts, the ones who say, hey, do you have this? Do you want to work with? The sales posts are actually getting less engagement, but higher conversion on LinkedIn. Invisible, I call it. So I know if someone doesn't do any sales post, they don't sell. So if someone doesn't do anything like, here is my community, so much it costs, join. If they never post this and it's just, inspirational, teaching, awareness post, they have no clients. I know this. They have much more followers than me. They have no clients because it's just awareness, or let's say, yes, agree on things. So the sales posts are so important, even if they get less engagement and less likes, followers, and reposts. They're super important to show I have something to sell. It is a B2B platform also. We are not talking about social media for friends and family. We are talking about social media in a professional
and to say, like, sales posts, I think, and she's really good at coaching me all the time, it's conversion posts of if you see this problem, are you seeing this, then maybe we should talk, right? It's resonating with that. I do both. But I agree with Sophie, actually. The viral posts for me increase my reach, increase the numbers, right?
Yeah.
But the smaller performing posts, when I'm really speaking about my red threads and the piece that really gets them, I know who's really interested in them. They're DMing me in the background, like, oh, when's your next cohort? Or when's this? Those are the ones which are really speaking to my weirdos, my other weirdos, or sometimes my weirdos are just my supporters, right? In that way, but it's connecting with people on that level. I do think that the viral posts give a sense of what I stand for, though. I think in my personal humble opinion, I do post on humanity or things that I stand for. I still keep it that way, but they're not what you would come to me for.
I mean, I do personal brand and thought leadership strategies for one-on-one. And in that, all of this has space. It has to have space so you are not AI slob. It has to have your personal opinions, colors, food you like or don't like, or something like that. So it's not to get out of it, but it also has to have the clarity. If you're looking for this, if you want to post consistently on LinkedIn, then let's talk. If you're a one-on-one solopreneur, you're alone. It's you and your AI assistant. We need to talk because I know you're overwhelmed with your AI assistant. So you need a person. So these are the kind of concrete posts that also take a lot of bravery to do, because then it's selling your own thing, like you said in the beginning, Sophie. It is so easy to sell from a company to say, well, I'm the product manager of On, I'm from Nike, and I have marketing experts that work with me, because it's so emotionally hard to say, work with me. I got you. I can help you. There is no brand saying I can help you, or product team. It's me, and I will deliver. So that's also a very personal journey to do, to say I sell my own offers.
Yeah, 100%. And I think a lot of people also are worried about looking salesy or coming across a certain way, and so then hold themselves back from that. And I get that, because I've definitely been like that in the past as well, and realized that actually all that I'm doing is that engagement piece and the awareness piece, but none of it was converting. And that was a real process for me to get more comfortable with being courageous enough to say, I have this thing, it's really good. You need it if you've got these problems.
It's a funny thing. I always get the total opposite, that I feel a little bit too salesy, and I'm like, well, don't like it, unfollow. That's your prerogative.
And like, at the end of the day, you're running a business.
Exactly. It's a B2B platform. It is a B2B. But marketing and sales, I mean, in companies, these are two different skill sets. But when you're alone or when you're starting up, you yourself,
you wear many hats.
You have to do it. So if the leads that are coming in are shit, it's been you and your content or what you've put out there. And people say, well, this is amazing, but I don't have the money to pay you. What did you communicate? So it's in yourself, the marketing, visibility, and the sales. And I don't know, Sophie, I was interested to know how you do this, because you talked about the shifted market of visibility and the digital marketing. My experience is that it's not enough to have just content. You have to do sales conversion actions behind the scenes. So I'm curious, you with a huge platform, is it enough to just do marketing or just visibility, or do you have to do conversion behind the scenes?
Oh,
Give
I
us
need to
more.
know this.
It's so much work, and I definitely don't think I've nailed it. I'm sure that I'm, what they say, leaving a lot of money on the table.
Yeah, potential there. Yes.
But I do the best that I can with the time that I have. But yeah, I mean, there's so much to it. There's so many connective parts to it. So thinking about I'm doing an offer in April, and even thinking about things like, can I bundle this? What is a way of not having to fragment my attention because there's two offers going out around the same time, that I can bring them together somehow and make one of the offers more attractive? And where do I want them to go after that point? And how do I keep people in my ecosystem? How do I galvanize my existing and past clients to go out and get me some more leads? And how do I support them with that? And all of these different things. It can be really challenging. And one of the biggest challenges that I have at the moment is, since I'm launching my book, and I do a lot of public speaking and I train people in public speaking, and I'm finally putting on my big girl pants and being like, you're going to be paying me 4 figures for any time that you want me to speak now. And that's my commitment to myself into the universe. And that's terrifying. I'm like, because I'm so used to doing stuff as like, okay, sure, I'll do it for that or whatever. Free sometimes, like speaking on stage is.
I have an idea from you, Sophie, right now. Let's say next year when we do this, we'll pay our speakers.
Oh wow!
I just got it from you.
Well, you need to get sponsorship. You've got a great audience.
Help us out, for course. I don't know, but I was thinking, we've been doing this LinkedIn Live series is now the 2nd year, so we've been, and we
that sounds so scary. I can't believe we're only 2.
And we don't pay our speakers. But I was thinking for a long time, because I talk about women working so much for free, that we also maybe should start, or but think about paying our speakers.
I don't put podcast kind of things into that, because it's just you've got the platform. People who are coming onto your show get access to a platform, and it's a great, lovely conversation. I would charge if it was like a corporate thing and it was going out to a membership, for example.
Don't backpedal now, Sophie. Don't backpedal now from money.
So it's interesting. It's interesting.
I don't want anyone to listen to this and feel like I'm demonizing them, because people ask me, because I'm quite vocal about especially things like pay to play, and people get worried that I'm putting them in it. And I always say that as long as you're transparent, you can. It's about not being shady with most of this stuff. And for me, the thing that started to really bother me more is when people have platforms or communities or whatever where they say they're championing women, and then they're taking women's labor, and that's basically the entire offer of their service. But they're not,
and then charging extortionate ticket prices as well.
And
then you're like,
that's where I draw the line. So I'm very similar to Sophie. I charge 4. I actually already charge that. So I've had 4 figures for different. I look at where they're having tickets, and I've said no last year. I haven't named or shamed, but I got taken down a route, and they had tickets, but they were not going to pay their speakers. I said no.
I remember when you were talking
about
I was so cool. I do pay my coach. So that's the thing, is what I can't understand is when you're ticketed or when you're a big company, the big brands also do it for International Women's Day. I can guarantee you there'll be big brands who are going to come and ask women to speak, but they won't pay them. I'm sorry, you're $1 million, $1 billion, whatever company. So these are the two that I have a challenge with. I pay my coaches small little equity sanctuary and I go, it's equity. But because I have a membership, I'm going, well, I'm earning money, then therefore I'm paying. I think for me, because I also then transcend, I've got like a cup. It's like that full. Actually, maybe it's a little bit full, less full of things that I'm like here. Women in Data Science is a not-for-profit. So Agar asked me, and I did not charge them because so it depends what it is.
Yes,
and I have a cup, but I will not go if you're charging ticket prices and or if you're a big company of whichever brand. And I think too many brands are expecting women to come and talk for free. And it's rampant everywhere. So if you want Sophie to come and speak for you this International Women's Day, then you better pay her.
and just help us get sponsorship also.
I
mean, the thing is, I think, I say everyone can have a pro bono, side, like, because so many women do social work, social impact work. I do not know anyone, kids or not, like this is absolutely equal, that does not do some kind of social impact work with neighbors, with communities. It doesn't matter even their political affiliation. They will do some voluntary, even if it's for shit organizations. So all women do social impact for free. I say, keep a pro bono, keep your thing that I love doing some pro bono work. I come from social work, keep it, but do not let it be, 90% unpaid and then you scramble for the 10% for a smile. 90% is super good pay because your pay creates super good other work environments. You pay other women, you create value, monetary value, and 10% is pro bono. I'm super excited to maybe catch up with you, Sophie, or after you're less busy in 5 to 10 years, and then to see how we can develop also our what we've grown here on LinkedIn in this collaboration that we have, and to make it more and more aligned with what we say. Yes, we do the platform, we find the finances, and we redistribute attention and money to other women.
But I also think it takes all women saying no. It takes all women. It's going to take all of us on International Women's Day. If a company asks you to speak for free, you say no, because the moment that you say yes, you're literally taking away our value and that money. And it's hard. It can be hard because it was like, do I take it? But I'm like, this company was charging $2,500 for a ticket. I'm like, and they want to give you free tickets. I'm like, no, I'll have the value of 4 people coming to your event, please. It's like that kind of talk back. Sorry, Sophie.
No, you're absolutely right. And I really feel like this whole, but I'm giving you access to my community thing is just such rubbish as well. Like I had it recently where a women's organization said that they would buy my books for their members, and then they backpedaled on it, and then they said, oh, don't worry, you can come on a LinkedIn Live and we'll do that for you. And I'm like, but I'm charging thousands of pounds for my insights around my book. Like, why do you think that that's doing me a favor?
Right.
And they positioned it in a way that was just like, you're welcome. Like, hey women, thanks, I don't need you to empower me.
Thank you for coming on our live, which in all transparency has been unpaid still.
But this is really different though. I go on podcasts all the time for free. That feels really different. It's more like when it's an organization that are charging people and they're not, and I know for a fact that this organization never ever pays its speakers, and I've also spoken on their stages for free for events that they've charged people for, and like that's where it becomes like, for God's sake.
It's not fair.
So if someone is thinking about they can follow you and will look at the book and so on and follow your journey. If you can give us the rounding up a little bit for the last 10 minutes, what do you think today? You've been 9 years on this journey. What do you think today was like, if you think of your kids or your next generation, what would you give them around visibility, online visibility? And what do you think is coming from us in terms of trends and so on?
Well, hang on. Does it have to be online? Because she's talking both, right? So to be unignorable, I'm going to challenge you.
You've got to be everywhere.
Yeah, no, but with intent.
I don't have a book yet, so it's all hard.
No, but you're building community. But what is it that you would what's the seed, the nuggets that you would pass on to your
all of these actually all of those things are kind of an interesting interwoven tangle in my mind, because I'm having a daughter, and I pray that by the time that she is old enough to have anything to do with social media, that it's either defunct or illegal for that generation, because I think there's nothing more toxic than social media for young people. And I would love us to go back to visibility being about connection in the genuine sense. And we've spoken about how social media can be incredible for that, and it really has been incredible for that. But I think you need to have a level of emotional security to be able to navigate that world and protect yourself at the same time, and to be able to regulate your nervous system as you are in this fast-paced online visible world. So I hope that that's not available for her until she's old enough to know how to deal with the impact of it. And I foresee more in-person, outside in the wild, getting together, getting dirty hands and sitting around a fire, because I think we are all getting so exhausted by being disconnected and thinking that we're connecting because we're having gorgeous conversations like this. And I feel, talking to you, like I can feel my body tingling. I can feel the connection, but it's not the same as sitting in a circle of women sharing over, cackles and a fire. And I think that there's going to be more of that, and I think the experience economy will continue to grow as a result of that. So for me, things like, and I don't think it's true that everyone needs to write a book at all, but finding ways to connect with people and get yourself in people's vicinity that isn't just relying on someone seeing your social media post. Whether that's even writing a handwritten note. I've written quite a lot of handwritten notes in the context of my book, and sent people little gifts. I'm basically like just trying to beg people to read my book, like bribe them with my love.
Putting a link
it's
below.
They're friendly.
But that, just because I was thinking, well, what's the way to get their attention? They're probably inundated with emails or what have you. And at the very worst case, they're just going to have a nice little note. And in the best case, then it might open up an opportunity for a conversation. So those of us who can think outside of the box like that and go back to the roots, like, of what humans used to do for thousands and thousands of years before we had all of this distraction, and go back to that, would be, I would say, a really great way of having being remembered as well as anything else.
It's a legacy, isn't it?
Beyond palatable, is that going to help me think that through? Like, across, is it really more also about connection? It doesn't matter where the message is, or how much will me reading, which I am going to read.
Beyond Palatable isn't a business book, so that's something to note. It's a book about why women self-abandon and the history of the silencing of women, which is like 10 to 12 casual thousands of years old, and why we now still struggle to be self-expressed and to show up as ourselves, and to not constantly sacrifice ourselves for other people's needs, and what to do about it. So it's
we have to reconnect with ourselves first before we connect with others.
Yeah. And why it's so vital that we connect with ourselves in order to be able to connect with others. And that if we don't do that, we will not be able to connect with others. And so all this kind of martyrdom that a lot of us do live by is actually counterintuitive to what it is that we're trying to achieve. But my main rallying cry for a lot of my work, actually, in the context of women, is about why women need to wake up to ourselves to be able to be better advocates for one another, and why that matters now more than ever. And I said this earlier on another post where I was ranting, which is that we get really angry when men blame the patriarchy for their shit behavior. But women also can't blame the patriarchy for our shit behavior. We have to.
Because we conform to it. That's why.
Exactly.
We allow it to happen.
Exactly.
Where is no time for rebuttal now? What is happening? You have to come again.
I'm sorry. I know you always get me. It's 4 minutes to go, and I'm going to go down that rabbit hole, and I won't come back out. She's hit a nerve, and I'm going to go.
Brain when when the timer is 2 minutes, that's when they're like, okay, let me say you like this. Now we will not see each other again for a while. Okay. I mean, thank you so much for coming and definitely highlighting again this journey that is. I love the honesty that is not so easy, that it is possible. That there are 9 years behind it and a lot of expertise. To not tell to someone to not do it or they don't have it in comparison, but to say, listen, maybe it's taking a lot more than a few posts until you build a platform. And community means also spending time with each other, also through posts, more than just on post. It means really a lot of sharing, and not all of the posts are psychological, philosophical. Some are, that's the social part of social media. So building a community means spending time with each other online or in person. It is a time shared value. So thank you for coming to our space and our weird community, neurodiverse, friendly community.
Yeah, I've really loved this conversation. I could talk to you all for a lot longer.
We could.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
I feel like there needs to be a part 2 at some point, but I'm sure we will regroup on that. I think there's been some beautiful highlights and snapshots for this. And please share your link so we can share it with the audience as well, because I've had a couple of people in the chat just popping up saying, oh, we want where can we get the book? So please do send that through and we'll share that with them as well.
And my thought was, if you ever wanted to do a session in Switzerland, it's so patriarchal, it would really go down well here. You're more than welcome. We will be happy to organize it for you. But
I feel that could be a very powerful but also very dangerous panel. I just have that feeling.
No, I'm just thinking I think your book would do so well here, Sophie. We need it, darling.
One of my best friends lives in Zurich, so I come to Switzerland quite regularly.
So the next time you're here, let's have something. Look, we are on now. I don't know. They've got a massive facility. Yes. We will try and get you. Let's get your book here, because literally there are women desperate to break the patriarchy.
Are you in Zurich too then?
Yes.
We are in Zurich right now.
I come like at least twice a year.
Yes. Give us a call.
Yes.
We'll do link.
I need the date so I can also get involved. Hello, I'm third wheeling in the group here, but you know.
Yeah, I think we need to take your book international.
Look, we're coming to London. You guys are coming from Zurich, and we're gonna do like some spa dates and stuff, like people do business, a certain level. And so we're gonna do that and talk about paid sponsorship and paid ticket prices and so on. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Welcome to Zurich. We're going to come to London.
Sounds great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Sophie. Bye.
You have to. Who is to?